From my perspective, I think sometimes just as I've gotten older, I've read more about history, and I realized how much I took for granted. Widespread belief in what we may call objective morality. It didn't seem so natural when you go back just 100 years. In fact, believing that people should be treated equally is relatively new concept. If you look at how we've lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, using that as an example, it seems like the natural state of man is not, kind of the morals that we may now believe to be objective. Am I shooting in the dark here?
I'd make a distinction between objective moral values and our subjective capacity to appropriate them and recognize them. I think there can be real evolution and real development in our capacity to see them. Let's say the fundamental equality of all people, which is grounded, as Jefferson himself saw, in God, right? All men are created equal, because we're not equal, in almost any other area. We're not equal in intelligence or courage or beauty or skill, or we're not equal physically. We're not equal at all. But I'd say what Jefferson correctly intuited is we're all created equal. We're all equally children of God. So that's an objective truth. That has always been true, but it took, let's say in our case, the Western mind, a while to fully appropriate that. And then I would say fully to pull out the implications of it for the way we organize ourselves politically. So I would say Jefferson and company weren't so much inventing a new set of ideals. They were more clearly appreciating and then appropriating objective moral values.
I see. How is this different than the philosophies of, say, Karl Marx, where we're talking now about people being created equal, whereas Marxist philosophy is more about us being equal, and trying to achieve being equal in all, I guess, ways. How are those two different?
Well, Marx is coming out of an entirely different philosophical framework. Marx's philosophy of the human person is that we really make ourselves who we are. So there is no objective human nature for Marx. One of his famous lines is, a human nature is the sum total of social relations. So it's the way a society organizes itself economically determines sort of who we are. So there's the human being in a slave economy, human being in a feudalistic economy, human being in early capitalist economy. And then Marx envisioned human being in perfect communism. And they would all be different instantiations of human nature because there's nothing objective about it. That does have implications for the way Marx understands the moral life, which is why a lot of Marxists following him will say things like, hey, whatever you need to do to bring about the revolution, to bring about communism, okay. Because there really is no objective moral value. There's a human nature being created as we go. So Marx is coming out of an entirely different philosophical framework, and I would say finally a dangerous one.